Dear children, in any subject that we learn, we should understand the language of the subject. In physics, in chemistry, in mathematics, though we teach in English, but there are certain terms, they are having meaning which explains different rudiments of the subjects. Unless a student is very acquainted with such words, then he or she will not have a reflection in her or his mind of the subject to understand. So, for that reason, we are making an attempt in our last classes: atom, element, molecule, compound, all these things we have discussed to understand what is the meaning in it and what is the vivid explanation of the things that we are using in our subject. So, we have discussed atom, molecule, element, compound. Now, today we will devote our class to understand valency. So, some write Valency or some write Valence, whatever it may be, it is valency. So, this word valency in chemistry is very important, because all chemical equations, chemical formulae, whatever thing that we want to explain our chemical reactions, unless a student is very clear understanding about this, then he or she will not have a proper understanding of it. So, where from the word valency comes? It comes from a Greek word Valencia. Valencia, its meaning in English is ability. Its meaning in English is ability. So, ability of the atom of the element, because in Dalton's atomic theory we have read the atom is the smallest particle of an element, may or may not have pre-existence, which cannot be further subdivided, is responsible for all physical and chemical properties of the element. Means every physical property or chemical property what element exhibits, it comes from the atom of the element. So, that which is exhibiting is its ability. That property what it is exhibiting is its ability. So, that ability is explained by the word in valency. We want to describe this. So, valency comes from the word Valencia, Greek terminology, and that what is this, why this necessity of valency came. Now, for example, you see, if you come to chlorine, we take an element chlorine. Chlorine reacts with hydrogen to form HCl, where one atom of chlorine is reacting with one atom of hydrogen. The moment we go to magnesium, one atom of magnesium reacts with two atoms of chlorine. Then again we go to a metal aluminium, one atom of aluminium combines with four atoms of chlorine. So, now if you see this, the chlorine remains, the moment the other element is changing, number of atoms of chlorine more and more reacting. If you come to carbon, combines with hydrogen to form methane CH4. The same carbon combines again with hydrogen, two atoms of carbon combine with hydrogen to form ethane, where you have C2H6. The formula comes. When you come, it combines with ethylene, it forms ethylene, carbon and hydrogen combine to form ethylene, which is C2H4. Now, same carbon combined with hydrogen to form acetylene, C2H2. See, here one atom of carbon is combining with one atom of hydrogen in acetylene. In ethylene, two atoms of carbon combine with 4, or there are one atom combining with 2. In ethane, when you come, it is one atom of carbon combined with 3 atoms of hydrogen, and if you come to in methane, one carbon atom combines 4 atoms of hydrogen. Very peculiar. So, this thing comes. So, then question comes, where is this, why this happens? So, to know the secrets, to know what is happening, to know why this goes on, the concept of valency was needed. The combining capacity, what capacity I am using to combine, what capacity I have my capacity, I have my ability, but how much ability I am using. For example, my total ability to lift weight is 20 kgs. If somebody give me 1 kg, I will just keep it and throw it like this. 2 kg, I will just without any force labor I will take. If 5 I can pick, the moment it becomes 7, now I am to lift with more energy. Then if it comes 10, again I will use more energy. You see, when you come to 15, I will use still more energy. When my ability 20, so I can, while lifting 20, I go with the utmost energy of mine, that is my maximum ability, and anything I can do. So, I have my ability 20 kgs I can lift, but at a different time I am using my different ability, different amount of my energy I am consuming to do the work. Exactly the atoms they do. In chemistry this can be explained. So, we go to the word valency, then how we define the word valency. The valency is a number, the valency is a number which explains the combining capacity of the atom of an element, the atom of an element with respect to hydrogen as 1. Means taking the combining capacity hydrogen as 1, we will be explaining the combining capacity of different elements, and that is the valency of element. So, I am using a word here, please. You just give your focus on this word, a number. It is a number. You should understand why I say the valency is a number. What is a number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 is also a number. These are the numbers. So, when I utter 1, I am not telling positive or negative. But I am using 1, I am not using any unit. I am not using any unit. So, the moment I say valency is a number, means valency does not have any sign. Valency never positive or negative, and valency does not have a unit, and is a number. Valency cannot be a fraction. So, if a student understands the meaning of why the word number I am using, then he can understand what the valency is. The valency is a number. It explains the combining capacity of the atom of an element with respect to hydrogen as 1. Means this valency does not have any unit. It is neither positive nor negative, because a combining capacity, and it cannot be a fraction. Then question comes, why not? We have fractional numbers, 1 by 2, 1 by 5, 2 by 3, 5 by 4. We have the fractional numbers. They are fractional numbers. They are the number, not the numbers. Then why? Question may come to us. Why valency cannot be a fraction? What you are defining? The valency is a number which explains the combining capacity of what? The atom. Of the atom. What is atom? The atom cannot be subdivided. Atom cannot be subdivided. And you don't have half atom, you don't have 1/4 atom. So, your number cannot be a fractional. So, valency cannot be a fraction. This is the definition first definition came to explain this. Then how we explain? We say that the valency of atom of an element is equal to the number of atoms of hydrogen which can combine with an atom of the element. So, what the valency can be? So, the valency of the atom of an element equal to the number of atoms of hydrogen which combine with an atom of the element. You have read these things in your school. All of you have read this valency in your school. Jojjata word they have taught you at that time. But why I am again teaching you? Because you are entering into college where your language of teaching is mode of communication is English. You will read the books in English, you will listen in English, you will think in English and write in English. So, that is the only reason I am translating the things which I have read. Then what happens in school? Now, in school you have read in small amount of thing is been taught to you. Minimum that is required, that has been taught to you. Now, we are learning exhaustively because we will never learn again. Remember this, whatever we are now understanding, that will remain for our lifetime. And once we do not understand these languages of the subject, that will remain as a doubt for us. Hence, do not leave an iota of doubt anywhere where you are understanding the language. I say here the valency of atom of an element is equal to the number of atoms of hydrogen which can combine with the atom of element. So, lithium, the valency, for example, nitrogen combines the hydrogen to form ammonia NH3. So, valency of nitrogen is 3. Carbon combines the hydrogen to form CH4. So, the valency of carbon is 4. The phosphorus combines the hydrogen to form PH3 phosphine. The valency of phosphorus is 3. Sulfur combines with the hydrogen to form H2S, hydrogen sulfide, where the valency of sulfur is 2. So, like this the valency came. Now, this is the definition of valency, and valency is a number. Number 1, it can neither be negative or positive, then it does not have any unit, then it is cannot be a fraction. Now, this way then we have valency. Now, my point is, I do not want to remember the valency. Many often in the book the valency is given and you are asked to remember the valencies. We will not remember the valencies. We will not remember the valencies. We have 118 elements. Each element will have different valencies. So, then how many we will remember? So, we will find out a way how to have this valency with us, and we can predict the valency ourselves. Now, question comes. So, this was this was about 1803, 1802, where the atom was defined by Dalton. Then all these things came in. Then the science developed. After the discovery of electricity, then the gas which was not conducting electricity started conducting electricity under reduced pressure. The discovery was there, discharged through gas in the 1886. Then a group of scientists called Thomson, Crookes, Faraday, they found that the structure of atom was studied. The atom is the smallest particle of an element is correct, but what the atom consists of? I am a human being. I have 2 hands, to do my work. I have 2 legs to walk. I have my mouth to eat or speak, and I have my eyes to see and my ears to listen. All these organs I have and they are functioning. Now I am functioning. My functioning is depends on my brain, the command from the brain to the different limbs of mine, and accordingly I function. Exactly, the atom, the constitution of atom was studied, and in the 1880s, 1900, in between these 4-5 years, the atom was found to consist of 2 fundamental particles, electron and proton. The atom is a particle and it consists of the fundamental particles in it. The scientists, they wanted to know what is there inside the atom. It is a particle, cannot be further subdivided, all right, but what it consists of. And it was found that the atom consists of 2 fundamental particles, first discovered electron and proton. Electron is negatively charged and the proton is positively charged, and the total mass of the atom is because sum of the number of proton mass of algebraic sum of the mass of the atom, number of protons and electrons present in the atom. And Rutherford then discovered the structure of Rutherford model of atom. He proposed a model because nobody seen the atom. He has not discovered the structure of atom. He thought a model. He conducted an experiment, the bombardment of alpha particles on gold foil. From the scattering of alpha particles from the gold foil, he proposed a model for the atom, and he found out, he says, the protons are there at the center of the atom, which he named as a nucleus, and the electrons are moving around the nucleus of the atom. The entire mass of the atom is concentrated inside the nucleus. Later on, in the 1932, Chadwick discovered another particle present in the atom is called neutron. So, 3 fundamental particles of atom are there: electron, proton and neutron. So, now taking 3 fundamental particles, if you come to the atom has a nucleus, and this nucleus is placed at the center of the atom. It consists of the protons and neutrons, and this is the cells. The cells are there. Cells are what? The orbits. What is an orbit? A path, imaginary path. Cells are there in the atom where these electrons, they are moving. The electrons are moving inside the in the orbits, in their orbits around the nucleus. So, the electrons are moving. So, these are the cell, these are cell, these are cell, these are cell. They are called as cells, or they are called as orbits, and the electrons are moving around the nucleus in their own orbits. The force of attraction between the nucleus and the electron is equal to the centrifugal force of the electron, hence the atom is stable. The stability, the electron never comes out of the electron from its path and moving continuously inside the atom around the nucleus. This is the thing we will read very detailed when we will study atomic structure. Now, I am my point is, the atom consists of proton and neutron present at the center of the atom, and this proton and neutron, they called the nucleus. I will explain you why it is called nucleus up to some class, and their electrons are moving around the nucleus in the orbits. So, now then who are the actually so then attempt was made. So, this was the discovery over in the 1900. Then comes in the during same time again the discovery of rare gases were made. Discovery of rare gases were made, and the rare gases were discovered in the towards 1902 to 1905. The discovery of rare gases took place: helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. The first discovery was made helium 1885, from 85 onwards to 1902, almost all these gases were discovered. Now, taking all this into the account, an attempt was made to explain the valency of the atom of an electron in accordance with the fundamental particles of the atom. And the most fundamental among all the three fundamental particles, the most fundamental particle of the atom which determines its ability to take part in chemical combination is electron. And so this taking this electron, then the valency of the atom attempt was made by the scientist for the first time, Koshal, to explain this, the valency according to the concept of electrons. Now, children, here I want to say, if somebody asks, an atom combines, why it combines? An atom combines with another element not to combine again. If somebody asks me, why are you eating? My answer is, I eat not to eat. My answer is, I eat not to eat. What I mean by this? I eat not to eat. Means after eating, however the delicious food is offered to me, I will not be taking the delicious food because I don't have the ability to eat. My hunger is saturated. My belly is filled with the food. Now, whatever thing I kept in my front, how delicious, I will not be able to take. So, exactly the atoms combine not to combine again. For one example I am giving you, you take sodium, is a metal. We put into water, sodium violently reacts. It produces sound, it produces light, and it forms sodium hydroxide, liberates hydrogen. Then you come to chlorine, is a gas. We pass the gas through water. The chlorine gets dissolved, we get a solution of chlorine, and that liquid now we are using touch and vanish. If you take that liquid, in bottles are available in the market, they call that touch and vanish. Suppose you have written something in the ink, you want to erase it out, you take that liquid and add a drop of liquid and put a cotton and wipe it, you can wipe this. So, who is this? Chlorine, reactive. Now, the sodium combines with chlorine, the sodium combines, when this sodium metal combines with chlorine, it forms sodium chloride. Here the valency of sodium is 1, valency of chlorine is 1, they satisfy their valency, they form the compound sodium chloride. Now, we take this sodium chloride, it is a white solid, the common salt, jota ame khauche, luno jota ame khauche, sodium chloride. Now, we are putting sodium chloride into water, it goes straight into water. Sodium chloride straight goes into water without any sound, without any light, no nothing. We do not know how sodium chloride passes into water. Then sodium, when reacts with water, it produces light, sound, and sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. But same sodium is present in sodium chloride. Same sodium is present in sodium chloride. But when we add sodium chloride, the sodium chloride is not producing any sound, not producing any light, and the moment you take sodium, you put into water, this forms sodium hydroxide and liberate hydrogen gas. It liberates the hydrogen gas. The gas comes out, and this solution produces blue litmus, red litmus blue. So many changes take place, but sodium is present in sodium chloride. Sodium is present in sodium chloride, but it is nothing happens. If you add sodium chloride to water, nothing happens. Question came into mind of the scientist, then means what? The moment an atom takes part in chemical combination, satisfies its valency, its elementary character is lost. Its elementary character is lost, and it will not exhibit its property, it will exhibit the properties of the molecule. It will exhibit the properties of the compound, the molecule. It will exhibit the properties of the molecule. That means what? Here the sodium is stable. In sodium chloride, sodium is stable, but here the sodium was reactive. Here the sodium was reactive. When you put sodium into water, it was reactive. When we put sodium into chlorine, reactive. But the moment it forms sodium chloride, it is stable. And with the moment it forms sodium hydroxide, it is stable. Now, I put here sodium chloride is there, here sodium hydroxide is there, but the two solutions, they are different. This will not turn blue litmus red, this will not turn red litmus blue, but this sodium hydroxide will turn red litmus blue, here it will turn. Then here sodium is there, here sodium is there. So, in sodium chloride, sodium is differently present. In sodium hydroxide, the sodium is differently present. The sodium is not sodium element, is not sodium atom stable. So, that all these examples, all these explanations I have given you children to put you one idea in your mind, that during chemical combination, the atoms of combining element attain chemical stability. All these examples I gave you to confirm one thing: during the chemical combination, the atoms of combining element attain chemical stability. They combine not to combine again. When they combine, they do not combine again. When they combine, they do not combine again. I told you that exactly same thing happens. So, this idea stuck to the mind of one scientist he called Kosel. Who took this simple concept and proposed a theory called as electronic theory of valency, according to the rule of octet. So, this idea he wanted to explain this. Taking this, he proposed a theory called as electronic theory of valency, basing on his fundamental concept, the rule of octet. Basing on the fundamental concept, what? Rule of octet. So, my point is, from this rule of octet, I will be explaining you the valency of the atom of the element. So, what is this? So, Kosel observed that the rare gas elements, who are the rare gas elements? The helium, its atomic number is 2, neon, its atomic number is 10, argon, its atomic number is 18, krypton, its atomic number is 36, and xenon, its atomic number is 54, and radon, its atomic number is 86. So, these are the rare gas elements. These elements are called as rare gas elements because their occurrence in Earth atmosphere is negligibly small. They are also called as inert gas elements. They are also called inert gas elements because they have least ability to take part in chemical combination. He found all these elements, they are not reacting. That means, when sodium reacts with chlorine, it must be becoming like rare gas element. When calcium combines oxygen, it forms calcium oxide. So, calcium must be attaining this. So, this concept went to the mind of the Kosel. He found the electronic structure of these elements. He found the electronic structure of these elements. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, and radon. He found one coherence in all of them. What he found? He found helium, which has atomic number 2, has 2 electrons. Then neon 10, it has 2, 8. Then argon 18, it is 2, 8, 8. And krypton 36, 2, 8, 18, 8. Then xenon 54, 2, 8, 18, 18, 8. Then radon 86, 2, 8, 18, 32, 18, 8. So, surprisingly he found this that atoms of all these elements they do not take part in chemical combination. They are highly stable, they are inert, they do not take part in chemical combination. But why they are doing this? The moment we study, we found in the outermost cell of atom of all these elements, they have one thing common, they have 8 electrons. They are inert, they are not taking part in chemical combination, and they have 8 electrons in their outermost cell. So, he related their chemical inactivity to this having 8 electrons or 2 electrons in their outermost cell. Helium has 2 electrons. So, this 2 electron he called as duplet. Duplet. Because helium has only one cell, 2 electrons, first cell can take 2 electrons. But all of these elements they have 8 electrons. So, 8 electron they call as octet. O-C-T-E-T, octet. Octa means 8. From octa word, the rule he took the word octet. So, atoms of all rare gas elements have 8 electrons in their outermost cell and do not take part in chemical combination. Or in other words, we can say their chemical inactivity or their chemical inertness is because of having 8 electrons in their outermost cell. So, he related this chemical reactivity to this octet configuration, or he says when the two elements combine, atoms of 2 elements combine, they form a compound. In the compound, these atoms they do not have independent reactivity, means they are become stable. So, they must be attaining this structure. So, he framed a rule basing on this. What he says? So, he framed a rule that is called rule of octet, a very fundamental rule, rule of octet. Taking this observation, he have a conclusion, and that conclusion is rule of octet, which is the fundamental concept for this electronic theory of valency, which explain the chemical bond or all the developments that took in the world of science. So, what he says, Kosel observed that atoms of rare gas elements, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon have 8 electrons, in their outermost cell, except helium, which has 2 electrons in their 8 electrons in their outermost cell, and do not take part in chemical combination and do not take part in do not take part in chemical combination even under extreme conditions. All atoms of all these elements do not take part in chemical combination, even chemical combination do not take part in chemical combination even under extreme conditions. Or in other words, he proposed or attain chemical stability, or have chemical, they have attained what? Chemical stability. They have attained the chemical stability extreme conditions. So he proposed, hence during chemical combination during chemical combination atoms of combining elements have a strong tendency to attain octet. Means 8 electrons, to attain octet in their outermost cell, or the nearest inert gas structure. They have strong tendency to attain octet in their outermost cell, in their outermost cell, or the nearest inert gas structure. That I am writing as NIGS. I will be using this word NIGS, means nearest inert gas structure, either by losing or gaining or sharing electrons between them is called as rule of octet. So he says two atoms are combining. When two atoms are combining, they do not have, those atoms do not have 8 electrons in their outermost cell. Those atoms do not have 8 electrons in their outermost cell, do not take part in chemical combination. Whereas these inert gas elements, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon, they are not taking part in chemical combination because they have 8 electrons in their outermost cell. So during chemical combination, atoms of the combining elements have a strong tendency to attain octet or the nearest inert gas structure. How? Either by losing electron or by gaining electron or by sharing electron. So, that is called rule of octet. From this rule of octet, the definition of valency according to electron theory was proposed. Then this, so when you come to this, basing on this, the definition of valency came in. So, hence, then what conclusion he made? Hence, the valency means combining capacity, the valency of the atom of an element is equal to the number of electrons it loses or gains or shares the valency of the atom of an element is equal to the number of electrons it loses or gains or shares with the other atom to attain octet. 8 electrons octet in outermost cell or NIG as nearest inert gas structure. If it is losing 1 electron, its valency will be 1. If it is losing 2 electrons, its valency will be 2. If it is losing 3 electrons or gaining 3 electrons, its valency will be 3. If it is losing or gaining 4 electrons, its valency will be 4. So, this is the way the concept of this valency basing on the octet, the definition of valency came in. So, according to atomic structure of the atom of element. This rule of octet was taken as a fundamental rule for proposing the type of bond, the force of attraction existing between the atom of element, electrovalent bond, covalent bond, coordinate covalent bond, all the 3 types of bonds they were discovered, they were proposed. This electrovalent bond was proposed by Kosel, the covalent bond was proposed by Lewis, and the coordinate covalent bond was proposed by Sidgwick. So, these 3 type of forces of attraction existing among the atom of elements in a molecule, that could be explained basing on the rule of octet, and the whole theory is called as electronic theory of valency. So, now we come to a conclusion here. The valency of the atom of an element is equal to the number of electrons it loses, and an atom of the element loses or gains or shares with the atom of other element during chemical combination to attain octet or nearest inert gas structure. So, children, now many often we are remembering, now we will take this concept rule of octet, and this then during this time electron was discovered, proton was discovered, then rule of octet was completely discovered in 1905. This rule of octet 1905 to 1913, the rule 1908, the Rutherford model of atom came in 1913, the Bohr model of atom came in. In the 1913, Moseley discovered the atomic number. And in the 1869, the year in which Mahatma Gandhi took birth in October 2nd, in the same year, in the month of December, Mendeleev, the Russian scientist, proposed a very periodic table, Mendeleev periodic table, where he arranged 92 elements in the periodic table, and which was a very big discovery in the field of chemistry, arranging classification of elements in a scientific manner. And that periodic classification of element was then developed. That the Mendeleev periodic table was again re-modified in the year 1913, when it was proved the electron is the fundamental particle which is responsible for chemical combination, and atomic number is the number of electrons or protons present in the atom of an element, is the fundamental property of an element. The periodic table was recasted as a modern periodic table in the year 1913. According to the modern periodic law, the physical and chemical properties of the atom of element are periodic function of their atomic number. So, according to atomic number, the elements were arranged, and that is called the modern periodic table. I have the modern periodic table here. This is called the modern to that, the periodic table was recasted. Form of periodic table. So, I am here installing on the board both the things together. In this periodic table, I have fixed both long form of periodic table and modern periodic table. I will be using today the modern periodic table. And determine the valency of the element, different elements from the modern periodic table.